Hi there. In this video, I'll create an amortization schedule, and what that is it allows us to specify a loan and how many periods we're paying that loan off for, and then it'll allow us to look at how much of the principal we're paying per payment and how much of the payment that we pay is interest. And then we'll have a little bit of other information as well, like how much interest we've paid so far, how much principal we've paid so far, the total amount we've paid so far, and the amount of the loan that's remaining. So that's basically what our amortization schedule will show us. So I'm going to quickly create a new sheet here. I'm going to use a loan amount of perhaps $200,000. And presently, bank interest rates are around, I would say around 3% for a mortgage or something like that. So annual interest. So again, if we're making monthly payments, we have to divide that by 12 to find our monthly interest. So annual interest, I'll say 3%. 4.03, and I'll say we're going to pay this thing off in 5 years. So we have a set amount of time that we're going to pay this thing off. So that is 5 times 12, which is 60. We could have a number of years if we like, and a separate calculation for number of periods. But this will result in a leaner PMT function. So this is our schedule here. So I'm going to have the particular period. Again, what the schedule allows us to see is how much of the principal we're paying on a particular period, how much interest. So the payment amount, so that'll just be a plain old PMT. How much we've paid so far. This is the actual payments we've made. So cumulative payments. And the interest per period again. We'll just say int for interest. And then cumulative interest, so how much interest we've paid so far. And how much of the payment is principal. And how much of the principal we've paid so far. As well as how much of the amount that we borrowed do we have left. So not the amount plus interest, but the principal balance. And I'm just going to quickly make these a little taller and word wrap them so we can see everything in one column. Should be cumulative. And cumulative. There we go. All right, so I need to skip a line because I want to have the principal balance here. So that should equal that. And then I'm going to have the number of periods. So again, I'm going to pay this thing off within 5 years. So that's 60 periods. Now I'll be using my PMT function and referring to the numbers up here. So everything that uses these cells as references will be absolute references. Everything that uses these cells as references will not be absolute references because I will be autofilling. So for those two reasons. So the payment amount equals PMT, and then the rate. So I have to make that absolute F4, right? Divided by 12. Again, because we're paying per month. Number of periods. And again, that has to be absolute because we will be autofilling down. And then present value will be minus, I'm not sure what I did there to make that happen. So the first month's payment, and actually all months, will be the same. So those will be the amounts of our monthly payments. And so the first month we'll be paying that amount, so the cumulative amount is just going to be that, right? But the next month it'll be that plus that. So I'm just going to say equals that plus that. That's what I was trying to do. So of course the first month is just the same, but then the next month will be that plus that, and so on. And by the end of it, we'll have the total amount that we've paid. So basically, we'd be paying $15,000, $624.29 in interest. We can quickly see that just by looking at that number. Now, we want to, again, the reason for all of this is to see how much interest and how much principal we're paying per period, on a particular period, that is. So this equals IPMT, interest payment. And again, it just walks you through it once after we get the function name. So again, the rate, and again, I'm going to be autofilling, so I need to absolute reference that, divide by 12. The period, that does not need to be absolute reference because that will be increasing as we drag down. Number of periods will be that, and again, that's absolute referenced. And then present value, again, negative because it's a loan, and that amount, again, absolute reference. So of that first payment, $500 is interest. And you see, of course, as we pay it, it drops to darn near zero. So the cumulative interest, again, same thing, equals that plus that. So you see that amount equals that minus 200,000. Principal. So this is the amount of the principal that is being paid per payment. So again, a payment, a particular number of payment. And this is just simply PPMT, principal payment. Now notice when I type that in, it says returns the payment on the principal for a given investment based on periodic. And in this case, it's not an investment because we're using a negative. So again, it just, so our rate, again, we have to F4 that, divided by 12. The period is not absolute. We want that to change, so we do not F4 it. Number of periods, again, that F4. Present value minus that F4 and enter. That future value, but the FV, by the way, is future value. If you're paying less than the total amount of the loan, so maybe we wanted to just see how much we get, how long it takes us to get to, or what our payments would be if we just pay off half the loan, then we would enter $100,000 for future value. But if you just leave it blank, then it assumes 0. So cumulative principal, same thing, equals that plus that so we should have, that should equal the loan amount, the last line of the cumulative principal. And then to see how much of the principal remains, we just have to subtract that amount from that amount. So we have to make that absolute. So equals that F4 minus that. So it's easy to see how much left we have. And it should be 0 for the last line. So that's basically an amortization schedule. Thanks so much for watching.